Hey guys, welcome to our channel Nooker Chronicles. Today we're going to discuss 15 requirements or evidences that you would need to file Form I-485, which is also known as Adjustment of Status. But before we're going to start, a quick disclaimer that whatever we say here is not legal advice. Please consult an immigration attorney before taking any action. Now let's jump onto this. So let's get started with the very first requirement or evidence, which is I-94. Now I-94 is a form which collects your entry to United States. So whenever you come to United States, you cross immigration, and at that time Customs and Border Patrol records your entry to United States. And this I-94 is very important to see whether you came into United States on a valid visa and have been staying in the country on a valid visa. Now similarly, you would also require the second requirement, which is travel history. Now both I-94 and travel history can be collected from the same website, and how to find that website is you can go to Google and try and type I-94 online, and once you do that, it will take you to a government website where you can click retrieve I-94, and you can also click the other tab, which is get traveler's history. Now travel history is important because it records all your entries into United States. So for example, let's say last year you left to your home country. Now that day when you left is also important, and the day when you came back to United States is also very important. So the first two requirements, as we just discussed, were I-94 and travel history, and both are connected. Now let's discuss the third requirement or evidence, which is birth certificate. Now birth certificate is a very simple requirement, but sometimes you need to be very careful. For example, if your birth certificate is in your regional language, you need to get that translated into English so that USCIS can use that. And the second thing that you have to be very careful about is look at the details in the birth certificate very closely. Your name, your father's name, your mother's name, your date of birth, the time of birth, and also the place of birth should exactly match as you have it in the passport. So do check that, and if there is any mistakes, please get it corrected. The other thing that happened to me was that my mother's name was not in the birth certificate when it was generated. So for that, there is an affidavit that you can ask from your attorney, and you can get it notarized in India in presence of your parents or any relatives who were there when you were born. And while doing that, you can basically tell USCIS that your birth certificate was lacking some information, but now you have provided that information through an affidavit. The fourth requirement is passport. So you would need to take the scan of all the pages in your passport, whether it's current or expired. And when I say both current and expired, every page needs to be scanned into different copies. And this is a very important requirement, and please make sure that each page that you're scanning is clear and can be read by the USCIS officer. Now let's go to the fifth one as well, which is marriage certificate. Now if you're married at the time of your I-485 filing, please make sure that you have the marriage certificate and it's translated in English, and it has all the names of, like, for your name, your spouse's name, the place of marriage, and also the date of marriage clearly mentioned. The sixth requirement is divorce decree. Now if you're at the time of filing I-485, if you're divorced, then you have to also show the proof of that using a divorce decree. Now the seventh is all visa stamps. Now let's say you came here in the United States on F1 visa, and then you transition into a H1B, and then you are starting your immigration journey. So you have to provide the copy or the scanned copy of all the visa stamps that were basically stamped onto your passport. Now the eighth one is also very important, and it's I-797 copies. So all the I-797 copies would include your H1Bs, your OPTs, your OPT EAD cards, and all the other EAD cards, for example H4 EAD cards that you have collected over the time. So make sure that you have all the original copies and also the scanned copies when you're filing your I-485. Coming to the ninth requirement, it is all the I-20s and or DS-2019s that you have basically got when you came into the United States. I-120s are generally issued by the universities when you come here as on a student visa, which is also known as F1 visa. And the DS-2019s are issued when you come here on J1 visa, which is mostly known as a research scholar visa. So you have to also collect all the copies of I-20 issued by the university or the DS-2019 issued to you when you came here on these different visa categories. Now going to the 10th, which is a J1 waiver. Now I'm not sure how many of you are on J1 visa, but J1 waiver is a very important requirement if you're planning to file an I-485. I-485. So the J1 waiver is issued by the DOS, which is Department of State. But before you get that, you have to collect a no objection to return statement from your home country. Now, I can definitely make a video if you guys like, so please drop in a comment that if you want to get more details about J1 waiver, but it's a very important requirement if you're filing I-485 on J1 visa. So the 11th requirement is passport size photos. Sorry, I had to look at my list because there are so many evidences that we require. So the 11th is passport size photos, and you require at least 8 passport size photos at the time of filing. Now they would be submitted by your attorney to USCIS, and USCIS uses those photos for different forms that you basically file. 12th requirement is I-693 or medicals. Now, the most of you who have been in this process or who are about to file 485, your attorneys might have already told you that you have to get your medicals done. Now, how to basically find which doctor's office you want to go to get your medicals done, because you just can't go to any doctor's office and get your I-693 form signed. So the procedure is that you have to go to USCIS website, and there's a link called Find a Doctor. And on that link, you can basically go and put in your zip code, and that would tell you what are the doctor's offices that you can go and book an appointment to get your medicals done. Now, this is a very important step. Some of the attorneys would say that you might wait to submit your medicals when RFE is issued. RFE is a request for further evidence. But in my case, my attorney suggested to file it with the 485 because sometimes it just saves time when your application has been adjudicated. So my advice would be to file it with your I-485. But as I said in my disclaimer, do listen to your immigration attorney while taking any action. Now going to the 13th, it's all your education degrees. So let's say you have your bachelor's, you have your master's, and you have your PhD. So you have to get the degrees for all the three the educations that you have completed, and you have to submit those scanned copies along with your I-485. The 14th is past year's tax returns. Now the question comes, how long back in the history you want to submit your tax returns. In my case, I submitted last 3 years tax returns. Now some attorneys say that you don't require it, you might only require it when you are going for an interview, which is a process in I-485, it's the last stage. But in my case, I asked my attorneys to submit it with the application, just in case the USCIS officers wants to look at it before making any decision. Now, similarly, the last one, and it's the most important one, because without that, you can't file your I-485, and it's the I-140 approval letter. So when you have filed your I-140 in any employment-based category, you would get an I-140 approval letter. And that letter has to be submitted along with the 485 to show that you have been approved for your case. And then this is mostly the process where your status has to be now adjusted, and you're basically going to transition from a non-immigrant visa to an immigrant visa, which is also known as green card. So congratulations on that. So in today's video, we covered 15 different requirements and evidences that you would need to successfully file in Form I-485, which is also known as adjustment of status. So I would like to congratulate you if you're at this step, because this is the final step before you would get your green card. Now, I'm really happy that you guys are showing a lot of love and support to our videos. So please keep doing that, and please do like, share, subscribe to our channel. That would definitely motivate us to make more informational videos. And soon we are going to also launch some Life in USA videos for you to watch. So I hope you guys also like that content that we'll be pushing to our channel very soon. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.